Hey everybody, this is going to be a really short video, but hopefully one that you'll find interesting. So today I'm just thinking about what I'm going to do with this mess, okay? So, my first inclination is remove these wires, mount it down here somewhere on this plate. But I have the tremolo spring that goes in here, the reverb spring. So I want to mount something on here, but I'm trying to figure out what it is. So here's what I've come up with, and I want to give you a shout and let you see what it looks like. Hold on. Alright, so I'm using a program called Tinkercad. Alright, and I'm going to actually, I have a 3D printer, and I'm going to print this. So this is actually a bar, a plastic bar. This is a hole that will allow me to mount it to that aluminum frame. And then I've got two spaces underneath, so when it sits flat on the aluminum, I'll be able to pass a tire wrap through there. Pretty cool, right? So that's what I've designed. I'm gonna save this, and I am going to try to print it and see how it works. So let me get that going, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so my 3D printer is an XYZ Pro, and I've got it now loaded in there. And you see I can flip this image around, and I can look at it, and I can see that I've got the holes in the bottom right there. I see that I've got a hole in the top for mounting it to the frame, and I'm going to go ahead and try to print this thing. So let me click on the print icon right there, and it's a DaVinci Pro, and I'm going to go General, and I'm going to do an infill density. In other words, how thick or how strong is the bottom. So I'm going to go with an infill density of 25%. Speed, support, and retracting I don't need to worry about. And I'm going to heat the extruder to 220 degrees. This is ABS plastic. So we're going to hit that. And you'll see that it slices the object and prepares to send it to the printer. Right there. And then what we'll do is we'll take a walk over to the printer, and I'll show you when the print job starts. Alright, so here's the printer. You can see that it says building, initializing. So what it's going to do is it's going to raise up that platter, and it's going to heat the bed, where you see the blue, that's the bed. It's going to heat that to 90 degrees, and then it's going to heat the nozzle. I'll show you the nozzle. Right up there. That's the nozzle. It's going to heat that nozzle to 220 degrees. So we're going to have to wait for that to happen. Okay? While we're waiting for that, I'll pause the video, and then I'll come back when it's ready. While we're waiting for the printer to warm up, here's something I printed as well. It was a spool holder for my solder. I needed something to hold my solder spool. I actually printed this on this printer, and it's really just two simple pieces. Okay? It's this base, which I have a hole to run the solder through, and then it's this little post that goes through the spool. Fits right in there. All right, so anything that you could design with a CAD, you can print on a 3D printer. So really cool. So we're going to put this through here. This is our solder spool, and we're going to mount it right back in there. Okay, and this comes out. You can also figure out like toilet paper. Does it go over or under? So that's that. I'm still waiting for everything to heat up here, so look, I'll be right back. Just to give you an update, the extruder is already up at 220 degrees. The platform is now heating up. That has to go up to 90. Once that platform goes up to 90, it's going to be ready to print. And you have to ask yourself, why is the platform got to be warm? Well, when the plastic goes down, it needs to not warp, first of all. So it needs to lay down a steady, even bead. And the heated platform helps keep it pliable, so that when you're building the object, it doesn't warp up and it's strong. So that's why the bed is heated, and it also allows it to be removed a little bit easier. By the way, that blue substance that you see on the platform is actually just 3M painter's tape. It does a really good job of allowing the plastic to adhere when it starts printing. So I'll come back in about 39 degrees. Alright, this thing is going to start printing any second now. You'll see that the platform is up to 88 degrees, and we're going to let that happen. But having these 3D printers is pretty cool, and it actually works really well with the hobby that we enjoy, which is fixing antique radios and amplifiers and things. Because if you need a part, you just build it, and make it. How cool is that? And as you know, when you're working on these things, you can't buy a lot of the parts. You can make your own. This plastic comes out in different colors, and it's actually starting to build now. So let me show you what that looks like. So what it's doing there is it's laying a test bead, and it's blue. The actual plastic is blue, so you're not going to see much. But what it'll do is it'll start working on the pattern. Alright, and it takes into account that there's a space. So it'll lay down a block, and then it'll have a space, and then it'll lay the rest of the block down. And it will keep building it layer by layer by layer until it's complete. And this process is going to take quite a bit here. Probably about 20 minutes or so to print this one because it's a relatively small piece. So we're going to let that keep going. I'll show you progress when you can actually see something forming. But right now, blue plastic on blue tape isn't showing you very much. So let it build up and I'll print that. You can start to see it take a form there. And you can see the foundational pieces being laid. And it'll just go ahead and do layer by layer, one at a time, while it infills each layer. So remember, it's doing two cutouts that you say tie wrap through, and a hole to mount it. So it's going to take a little bit of time to stop and do all those pieces. Anyway, the estimate of completion has now been up to about 2 hours, which is typical for these kind of printers. Now it's going down to an hour. So it'll fluctuate a bit once it determines how many slices it needs to do. So that's where we are. I'll be back when it's done. I'll show you a little bit more because it's really cool. Just to give you a progress update, here's how it's coming along. It's looking pretty good. Let's take a look from the top. Can't really see it from the top, I tried. You'll notice that there is a hole there, right where the needle is right now. And I've got my tie wrap holes. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, I'll show you what this looks like when it's done. It's going to build for another 20 minutes or so, but time adjusted again. So we'll let this keep building, and you'll see we've got 31 minutes to go. It's about 42% complete. There's about 5 minutes to go, but I want to show you what it looks like from the top. See how it infills all those parts, and the last coating will be a solid, shiny surface. Okay, be back when it's done. Well, the piece is complete. What has to happen now is that bed needs to cool down, and then it will lower this bed down here. And when it does that, I'll be able to take this little scraper here and pry the piece out, and then we'll have it. So I'll put the piece in the next video, and I'll show you how we're going to mount it and that kind of thing. But that's how you print the part. All right. Thanks for watching.